Artificial intelligence is no longer a thought experiment. It's increasingly shaping boardroom decisions, national economies, and daily life. I'm here with Abhijit Dubey, President and CEO of NTT Data Inc., to explore how ethical AI could shape a future where technology truly serves humanity. Well, Abhijit, it's great to see you again. Thank you for joining me here today.
First of all, Philippa, it's great to be back here. In my professional career, I don't think we've seen the level of uncertainty that we are seeing right now. Sort of a perfect trifecta of geopolitical fragmentation, polarizing world order, the biggest technology revolution of the century, perhaps, which is AI, and then, of course, macroeconomic uncertainty. And this is where the bar on leadership is just raised dramatically. Nobody has a secret recipe, but a few things that I believe are important. Number one, always take a through-cycle mindset, which means you don't make decisions about the next 3 to 6 months, but 5, 10 years. Second is your investment decisions have to mirror that. Third is you always go back to your North Star principle about what's your purpose, mission, and values. Like our mission is to accelerate client success and positively impact society through responsible innovation, which means 3 very powerful concepts. So any decision I make is always with those 3 lenses.
Right.
And then lastly, it's really doubling, tripling down on your people agenda, because humans and your employee workforce is what's going to get you through this. And you have to double down. You have to be authentic. You have to tell them what AI means for the company and for them. But you have to make sure that you're developing, reskilling, upskilling your people to be relevant in the new era.
Excellent guiding principles. And tell me, why was it important for you personally to become Chief AI Officer as well as CEO? What does this dual role mean for you and for NTT Data?
My view is that AI is going to disrupt entire industries. So you can view it as an existential threat or the biggest opportunity of the decade. I prefer to view it as the biggest opportunity of the decade. But that does involve making really good decisions. At the end of the day, what does a CEO do? The CEO sets the strategic direction, they decide and allocate investments, and they ensure the talent is appropriate to the strategy and the investments. If AI is the strategy of the company, then it makes complete sense for the CEO to be the Chief AI Officer. This is one of the hardest changes that a workforce or a company will have to go through, and it has to be driven from the top. And it's also a signaling mechanism to our employees and, like our partners, our customers, governments, public sector, community and society, that this is really, really important. And we want to do it responsibly. That's why I took the role.
Well, as AI becomes more embedded in decision-making, how do you see the balance changing between human judgment and machine intelligence?
That is something we don't know what the end state is going to be. But as we are watching it, it is shifting over time, where machines can take over much more, not just of the tasks, but also of the decision making. My view is, at least where the technology is as of now, it's a magnifying amplifier of human potential. It is not yet at the stage where AI can replace human creativity, judgment, empathy, decision making, right? It can't do that yet. Now, that doesn't mean that it may not get there in the future, right? I mean, it will have to see how the technology evolves. But I'm also very clear that humans who use AI will replace humans who don't use AI.
Right.
It's not about AI replacing humans, it's actually the former.
Right. So if you had to choose just one decision that leaders must get right today to shape the future with AI, what would that be?
It's what does your hybrid workforce of the future look like? Because we are going to be in a future where you're going to have human employees and a lot of AI agents running your business. And how do you really think of them as an integrated system? We spend a lot of time thinking about how to recruit employees, how to onboard employees, how to train and develop employees, how to performance manage employees, and how to exit them. We have not done any thinking around how to do the same for our agentic employees in the environment. So how do you really plan for a workforce of the future that is truly going to be hybrid, machine plus human.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, the question every CEO is asking, what's the real business case for AI, especially as we move into new areas like agentic AI? Where are you seeing the strongest returns, and how do you measure ROI?
You can measure ROI in many different ways. I think there's a lot of studies that say we are not really seeing the ROI, we are seeing the ROI. The jury is still out, I would say. And that always happens in the early stages of a technology revolution, always. But eventually, the ROI is pretty clear. Where we stand now, and the work we have done as a company, we definitely see ROI when companies have put it in production, especially in core operations. That would be, for instance, product development, product engineering in an industrial company or an automotive company, customer service, because you can really delight customers. So there are many such use cases, and hyper-personalization. Like you and I, when we go shop now, we don't realize it, but there is a lot of AI that hyper-personalizes our shopping experience. So there's a lot of these types of things that are already quite embedded, but the trick is to make sure that they're deployed at scale. And they are really in the core operations of the company, which means if you're a telecom company, it's the telco operations or the network operations. If you're a manufacturing company, it's supply chain and procurement, because those are the core operations of the company.
So looking forward, what do you see as the true potential of AI that we haven't even yet realized?
What gets me really excited about the potential, despite all the challenges that, macroeconomically and socioeconomically that might bring, it can improve healthcare and educational outcomes for young children in underdeveloped economies. The research is very, very clear that economic development of a country is only driven by two things: educational outcomes, health outcomes for young children.
Right.
And there is a massive shortage of healthcare professionals and qualified teachers in these economies. And if AI can become that engine to drive that, I think it will unleash an incredible amount of development in the underdeveloped countries today.
Incredibly important use case. At the same time, what are the roadblocks? What challenges are holding organizations back from unlocking the real impact?
A lot of them. So number one, I would say, is data readiness. Data is a mess in most companies. I know that. It takes a lot of effort to clean it up because you have to train the models on the right data, on the correct data. Second is trust. How do you really get the management teams and humans to trust the outcome? Because this is not a deterministic model, it's a probabilistic model. And the third is change management. Every single piece of technology, the potential is really determined on how humans end up using that technology. And so there's a lot of training that's required. And the last one I would say is talent. We just don't have enough talent.
As AI becomes increasingly agentic, as you've talked about, what new guardrails or new leadership responsibilities do you believe are essential?
On the guardrails, AI has to be explainable, transparent, and auditable. But there are many different guardrails around security, trust, ethics, biases, hallucinations that you have to build in, and that's our responsibility. On leadership, I frequently talk about this notion. We have chief people officers or chief HR officers in companies today. We also need chief agent officers in the future, who's going to manage a workforce of 30, 50,000 agents in your company, right? And maybe the two roles get combined, or maybe they don't. We'll have to see. But that's sort of a new leadership paradigm that has to emerge.
Well, Abhijit, thank you. This conversation shows that the future of AI won't be defined by breakthroughs alone, but by the choices leaders make to ensure technology is safe, secure, and, as you said, trustworthy. This film, made in partnership with NTT and custom content from WSJ, is part of that wider conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. For more on human-centered innovation, discover our other stories below.